most of the forms of psychotherapy that are used in the world today identify characteristics or parts of people as part of the therapeutic process. So, for example, top dog, underdog for Gestalt, parent, adult, child for transactional analysis, ego, id for Mr. Sigmund Freud, and blamer, placator, and so forth for different systems. But those systems spent a great deal of time arguing with each other for years and years and years during the 60s and 70s when they were developed, trying to figure out which one of them was the best or which one of them was the right one. So we came along in the early 70s and middle 70s, and we solved that problem. What we discovered was, and this is what you'll really like, what we discovered was that every single problem that a person has a pattern or has a structure to it, okay? And therapies designed by different people are designed to be effective with particular patterns, particular strategies, or in other words, with the way people think or create their problem. Now, do you understand what that means? If I can figure out the pattern of a therapy and what and how to then recognize that pattern in a client when the client talks to me about their problem, then suddenly I can do something absolutely unique, something that wasn't done before we did it, and has changed the entire paradigm of what's called psychotherapy ever since. Very simple. Up until that day, the therapy process was you come to the therapist uses their model to figure out what's wrong with you, and then fixes you by their model. And now you're supposed to be happy and successful in the world. Well, minor problem, doesn't work. And the therapies, the best therapies in the world at the time were 15 to 20 to 25% effective. Okay, well, the other 75%, what's the matter? What's wrong? Well, the therapies had a nice little trick, and they said, well, what's wrong is those clients actually don't want to be changed. They're resistant clients. Well, guys, you and I know that's ridiculous, okay? The person wants to change. It's the therapist that needs to figure out the pattern of the problem and then select the therapeutic process that is effective with that pattern. Or, in other words, the therapies aren't real, the client is real. And you must be able to learn a lot of different systems in order to understand a lot of different patterns. Sorry, doesn't exist until 1973, when myself and 4 or 5 other very special people had the job with the NLP team of looking at 20 to 30 of the most successful therapies in the world at the time, figuring out what their patterns were that they were effective with, and how to recognize those patterns in other people. So do you understand what that means? We were able to, for the first time in history, talk to a client for 5 minutes to 10 minutes and then select the right form of therapy to help that client.